side of the equation or inequality. So like, I cannot combine the 4x with everything because that's on the wrong side. So I can do it here. And what do I get when I combine like terms?
Negative 10x.
500?
Careful, we're not multiplying, we're subtracting.
10x.
Negative.
But why do you subtract?
Because what did you do? You multiplied?
No, I added them.
Because what's that symbol in between them?
So whatever the symbol is in, like whatever that is.
Exactly. When you combine like terms, you're either adding or you're subtracting, but it depends on the symbol. And it's going to look different in different problems. So if you're a little stuck, let me do a very, very quick side note over here. So let's say it was written like this. Like the 20 and the 30x, let's pretend it was switched. How would you combine like terms in this case? You would have 20. Yeah, you would still subtract because what does the 30 have? The 30 has a negative sign in front of it. So we bring everything together. That negative sign belongs to the 30x. So we're not adding them, we're subtracting them. So no matter where those like terms are located, you always have to look at the symbol that's in front. Does that make a little more sense? Okay, cool.
Miss.
Yes.
Yesterday I was asking you about what happens if you have a variable like on the other side.
We're going to do that in the next step.
Oh.
And I know I was trying to explain it to you on Microsoft Teams, and that's a little more confusing. So it's going to make more sense here where you can see it visually.
Okay.
So who can tell us what needs to happen here?
The variable.
Subtract
On the other
4x.
side.
Subtract.
Right. So Melanie, just like you were asking, what happens when you have a variable on the other side? We're not going to combine like terms because it's on the other side. What we're going to do instead is we're going to move it over. And you're either going to add or you're going to subtract. And the reason everybody said subtract is because that 4x is currently, it's positive. It's a positive 4. So to move it to the other side, we have to subtract it. So that's what you're always going to do. Anytime you have a variable on the wrong side, you're either going to add or you're going to subtract, depending on what you have. So if it was a negative 4, what would you have done? If that 4 had been negative, what would you have done?
You would add?
Add 4.
You would have added it instead. Exactly. Okay, so now we do the math. Negative 10 minus 4. What does that give me?
Negative 14.
Very good.
Negative 6.
Negative 14. Again, with these problems, one of the hardest things, the place where people make the most mistakes is when they're adding and subtracting negatives. So always, always, always think about your number line or think about it visually. There's no rule. Like there's no rule for adding and subtracting negatives. You just have to visualize it and make sure you understand it. So in this case, we were doing negative 10 minus 4. And if I'm subtracting, I'm going this way 4 times. What number do I land on?
14.
Negative 14, exactly. You always have to think about it kind of on a number line like this and understand where you start and where you end up. Because there's no rule. You guys, I always get questions like, Miss, if you subtract 2 negatives, is it going to be a positive? There's no rule. Each case is going to be a different example. Alrighty, almost there. What do I do next?
Add the 20.
Very good. Since we have minus in front of the 20, we're going to add to get rid of it. All right, so what do I get here?
Divide.
Well, yeah, the next step is going to be divide, but my question is, what do I get? So I have
Oh,
26.
26,
Oh, miss, I forgot.
14.
14.
14. I heard 26 and I heard 14. Think about it one more time. See if it changes your mind.
14.
Good. Why is it 14 and not 26?
Yeah.
Because it's a negative.
Because the very number is positive, so it's going to be a positive. So,
Right.
And you take away 6, basically.
You're basically doing 20 minus 6, but backwards. You're doing negative 6 plus 20, but that's the same thing as 20 minus 6. Or if you want to visualize it on a number line, if I'm at negative 6 and I add 20, that's a lot of numbers to add, right? 20 times is going to go really, really far. So you know that's going to end up positive. You just have to think about which number it will be. And in this case, it was 14, which means my last step is what?
Divide.
Negative 14.
Good. Now we divide by negative 14. And since I have an inequality, what does that mean?
The sign will switch.
You switch.
The sign will switch or flip. So it's not going to be x is less than and equal to. It's going to be x is greater than or equal to negative 1.
Which what happened was in Khan Academy, I keep getting 3 out of 4, and I wasted 6 pages on it, and I still keep getting 3 out of 4.
Well, you got 3 out of 4. That's not the end of the world. That's a B. So if it were me, I'd be like, okay, I got a B, I'm good. But if you really want to get that 4 out of 4, then you just got to keep trying.
That's what I'm doing right now.
That's good. The more you practice, the better you get.
All
And I
right.
noticed you got a 4 out of 4 on the last one because you kept trying and trying and trying. So
I
it
Do
know.
paid
you
off.
realize how many times I
Yeah.
tried doing that quiz just to get 4 out of 4?
And then you did it. So there you go. Hard work pays off, y'all. All right. I'm graphing it now. So I have my negative 1 in the middle. Then I got my 0, my 1, negative 2, negative 3. What type of dot and which direction?
The direction is to the right.
Mm-hmm. And will it be open or
And
closed?
Close.
the close.
Close.
Good. Closed and to the right. So as a reminder, if you have less than or equal to, or if you have greater than or equal to, that's a closed circle. If it's just less than or just greater than, that's an open circle. Just a reminder on that. Any questions on how I got these numbers, how I solved it, how I graphed it, anything like that?
Miss, how did you get 14 for 10 minus 4?
Negative 10 minus 4 gives you negative 14 because when you subtract, you go backwards. So you're getting even more negative. Do you want me to show it on a number line one more time?
Yeah.
I'll do it one more time. That's fine. All right. So let me do it. Let me see. Where can I put this? I'm going to take all of this and just make it smaller. Okay. Here we go. We're doing negative 10 minus 14. So if I'm at the negative 10 and I'm subtracting 14, am I going to go to the left or to the right?
If we're subtracting, we're going to go to the left.
Exactly. And so I would go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now think about your number line. What number is that? Or fill in all the spaces.
14.
Right, because it would be negative 10, negative 11, negative 12, negative 13, negative 14.
Oh, I understand now, Miss.
You get it? Okay. Anytime you have to do that, if you're not sure what the answer is, honestly, you do what I just did. Draw a little number line and just double check to make sure that you're doing it correctly. Any other questions?
Miss, when you have, look at the negative 14x, negative 12. Why don't you just do it to 14?
When
you could do it to 14 too?
What color? What step are you talking about?
Is the negative 14x negative 12? I mean
Oh.
20.
20. So why did I add 20?
Yeah, like why you add 20, not 14? Or
Good.
can you do 14?
Good question. Does anyone else want to answer this one? So on step number 4, why did I add 20 and not 14?
You added
there's no
20
more X.
because
Oh, I got 2 people. So Wenchly, you go first, and then Zakai, you can go after.
There's no more X from the other side.
There's no more X's on the other side. Zakai, what were you gonna say?
you add 20 because like what he said, there's no more x's. You only need the answer for one x.
Right. So the whole
And because you have to get rid of the 20 to find your answer.
Exactly. So the whole point of this is that you want to get X alone, right? And if you move the 14X, that's not going to help you get the X alone. That's just going to move the 14X to the other side. So you're not really going to do anything that's going to help you. What we did by moving the 20, we got closer to getting X by itself. Does that make a little more sense?
Yeah, I get it now.
Okay, cool.
Thanks.
Anyone else? You guys are asking really good questions, so I'm happy to answer as many as you guys want, because you're probably not the only one with that question.
Is this class gonna be like the one of yesterday?
No, we're gonna learn one last thing today, and then at the very end, you guys are gonna take your quiz.
What quiz?
The quiz you guys have every Friday. Your favorite day of the week.
Miss, is it due like at night?
Yeah, it'll be due at midnight.
All right.
All right.
I'm gonna do it at 11. Is that all right?
I mean,
It's a test on Teams.
It's on Teams.
I
Yeah,
gotta
I'll explain it all at the end. But yes, it's on Teams. You'll have a little while to do it during class, but if you don't finish it during class, you can finish it later today. Okay.
Oh, when you're supposed to turn it in like at 12 midnight, or like you can turn it at any time?
By midnight.
Yeah.
Yes, and we gotta take a picture of our work.
Yes. I'll explain it all later. Okay.
Wait. So you have to take a picture of your work?
Yes, sir.
Oh, Miss, I did that thing on Khan Academy and then I didn't send you my work.
Khan Academy, you don't have to send me your work, just on the quizzes.
Oh.
Okay. So this is a quick review. We already did this. You don't have to write it again. Which of these symbols is the easiest one to remember? According to me.
This one.
Less than.
Right. Why does less than easier?
It's like an L.
It kind of looks like an L, right? So less than is L. Everything else, you can figure it out from there. Greater than goes the other way. So if you're ever not sure, just remember that the less than symbol looks like an L. Here are the new definitions. You only need to write down one.
Which one is that one?
The one that I'm highlighting. So what we're doing today, we're going to look at compound inequalities. We've done regular inequalities. Now we're going to look at compound inequalities. And don't you worry, because everything will make more sense. Just write down the part that I highlighted, yeah. So while you guys write it, I'm going to go ahead and read. Combining two or more simple inequalities forms a compound inequality. The graph of a compound inequality involving and is the intersection or overlapping region of the simple inequality graph. That all sounds like gibberish right now because y'all don't know what that means. Don't worry about it yet. The graph of a compound inequality involving or is the union or the combined region of the simple inequality graphs. Okay. The reason I don't have you write all of that down is because it doesn't really matter. I'll tell you what matters as soon as I see a couple people done with that first sentence.
Is there gonna be more writing in this class?
Nope, just this. All right, so as you finish writing, I just want to point out the difference between these types of inequalities. So A simple inequality, which is what we've been doing, is when you have one point and it goes in one direction. It could go whichever way. It could be an open or a closed circle, but it only goes one direction, right? Now there's two types of compound inequalities. There's and inequalities and there's or inequalities. You don't have to write this down because we're going to do plenty of examples, but I just want to show you the difference. So what do you guys notice what's the difference between an and type of inequality and an or?
There's two.
Mm-hmm.
The arrows.
The arrows, there's two arrows for or, and they point in which directions?
The opposite way.
Opposite ways, right? So or are the opposite. And the thing with the and inequalities is that what this is, they don't show it, but basically this is where you have they're also going opposite directions, but they're going to come together. So with or, they go away from each other, and with and, they go towards each other. So it kind of combines it into one. So it's kind of like a combination. They kind of mesh with each other. So or inequalities point away and inequalities come together. And we're going to see what that looks like in terms of what it looks like with math. Okay? So this
I got another question though.
What's your question?
Why are they looking at the opposite though? Why does it have to be like that?
You'll see, so the best way to explain this is just by doing a few examples. So it'll make a little bit more sense once we have an example. So let me just, I know you guys are probably like, what? That's okay. Let's just look at an example. All right. So we're going to start off with and inequalities. A compound inequality, remember, going back to the definition, a compound inequality has two or more simple inequalities. So what do you notice about this compound inequality?
It has one variable plus two
Two
equals.
equalities signs.
Yeah,
Right.
I got a question. How does 2 equals or is less than 8?
So that's the question, right? So basically what this is saying is that there are two separate things going on. On the one hand, x plus 2 is less than or equal to 8. But on the other hand, x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 4. So it's like a 2-in-1 inequality. And it might look challenging at first, but it's actually pretty easy because all you got to do is take 1/2 of it and split it apart. So I'm going to take just the part that is with the 4. So this is 4 less than or equal to x plus 2. And I'm going to split it apart from the other half, where I have x plus 2 less than or equal to 8. So all I'm doing is I'm splitting it apart.
So you're splitting them from when one side ends and then the other one begins?
Exactly. You always take what's in the middle and you bring that to both sides, but then you split it apart. One of them has the 4 and the other one has the 8. Once you've split it apart, now you can solve each one individually to get a final answer. So we're going to do that on both the green one and the orange one. So with the green one, what do I need to do to both sides to get x by itself?
Subtracted by x.
No, subtract by 2.
Subtract 2.
Okay. Subtract x or subtract 2? Subtracting 2 will get x by itself, right? Because I just subtract it, x is all alone. Now, what's the issue though? It's alone, but what?
The x is on the other side, so we gotta subtract by x.
Right. The x is on the wrong side. I kind of have this written backwards. This is backwards. But that's okay. We're going to leave it like that for now. And you'll see why in just a moment. So even though it's backwards, leave it just like that. Now we're going to do the orange one. And what do I have to do to both sides?
Subtract by 2.
Yeah. Same exact thing that I did for the green one. Subtract by 2. And I get x is less than or equal to 8.
Miss, how you get 8?
Why you put 8?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
It's because it's Friday and you're my last period of the day and I'm tired. So x is less than or equal to 6. Okay. Now, you know how I said the green one is backwards? Even though it's backwards, the reason I have it written that way is because now I can bring it back together. Just like I had in the first, in like the original problem, they were together, and I split them apart. Now I'm gonna bring them back together. So what happens is the x is in the middle, and I'm gonna take the same sign that I see over here. So I have less than or equal to 6. I'm gonna copy down that same sign over here. Same thing with even though it's backwards, I'm copying that sign, and I put my 2 answers down. So I have 6, and I have 2. And what this is saying is that x is a number that is in between 2 and 6. So x can be any number that's in between 2 and 6.
Are these ones opposites or do they combine?
So this is where they combine, exactly. Since x is in the middle, and this is telling me, let me put this in words. This is telling me that x is between 2 and 6. So that's what that literally means. So now on a graph, I would have my 2, and I would have my 6. And we're basically following the same rules. So I have notice that both of those symbols have the equals to underneath. So I have less than or equals to. That means I'm gonna have what type of circle? Open or closed?
Close.
Oh, close.
Closed circles on both, and I shade everything in between.
If they're the same signal,
Mm-hmm.
they're close. They're like combining, and then they're not. Do they like separate?
Exactly. So that's a very good question. So let me just make sure we all understand the graphing part. Does anyone have a question on the graphing before I answer Ascanio's question? Okay. So let me explain why the symbols are facing the same way. You know how I said the green one ended up backwards? I had this. It's backwards. If I wanted to turn it around and put it in the right direction, I would have my x on this side, my 2 on that side, but my sign also would have to flip. It's this way. So really what I have is x is greater than or equal to 2, and x is less than or equal to 6. So notice, what direction would this arrow go in?
What's the direction of the other one is pointing?
So on the 2, it would
I
point
think
to
I get
the
it now.
right. On the 2, it would point to the right.
Let the 6 is pointing the opposite, and the other one's pointing the opposite way. They don't
Exactly.
combine.
So
What if one
notice,
is
But they combine.
but they do combine because
Yeah.
the 2 goes to the right and the 6 goes to the left. So they meet in the middle. But if it was the other way around, they would go away from each other. So these are going towards each other, and we're going to see some examples where they go away from each other. We're going to do 3 more examples of this. So if you're a little lost right now, we'll do 3 more examples, and hopefully it'll start making
Oh,
a
and
little
another
bit more
question.
sense.
Like, what if the one in the middle is just a number and then an variable?
In these problems, it will be a variable.
it cannot be a number.
Right. I mean, the thing is, x could be anything between 2 and 6. So x could be 3, x could be 4, x could be 3.5, x could be 3 and 2.4628.
So we don't know what x is exactly.
Right. We just know that it's somewhere in between the 2 and the 6. Good questions, guys. Let's do another one. Let's see if another one will help make it more sense. So what do I do first?
Separate.
Separate them.
Good. We're going to separate them first. I take everything that does not include sorry. I take everything except the symbol and the 9, right? So everything comes with, and I have -5 less than or equal to 2x plus 3. And then I have everything to the right. So it's 2x plus 3 less than 9.
So the number that x equals, we do not add it to the other side.
Right. Instead, you were going to kind of do this backwards. We're going to keep the x where it is and move everything else. So instead of moving the x, what should I move? The 3, precisely.
The 3.
So I'm going to subtract 3 over here, subtract 3 over there. Here's another subtracting negatives. So what do I get when I do -5 minus 3?
-7.
Negative
-8.
8.
I mean 8.
There you go. And then again, even though it's backwards, how do I get x alone?
The other one and add it by
Divide
the other
2.
one.
Divide.
Divide by 2. So I have -4.
Because for these problems, like, we don't start with the variable. We start with, like, the other number. So
Yeah.
we want to get
Right, because you're going to get x by itself, even though it's backwards. We're doing the same thing, even though it's backwards.
So the sign gonna change.
So, right, so this is the same as, if I flip it around, this is x is greater than or equal to -4. Now let's do the green one. What do I do first?
Subtract.
Subtract. So notice the steps I'm taking on the blue one and the green one are the same 2 steps. I'm going to subtract 3. And then I'm going to divide by 2. So here I get x is less than 3. Now here's the important thing though, is when you put them together, you're
Miss,
gonna.
you know how for the, like, you switch the signs. You switch them because you switch the numbers too.
Right. Right. Since I flipped these over, you got to also flip the sign.
Oh yeah.
Because you read
This
it.
one's
This
Miss,
one what?
Is this one opposite?
Let's find out. Let's graph it and see what it looks like. So I have 3 and I have -4. So -4, -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So looking at my symbols let me rewrite it up top. So I have x is greater than or equal to -4 and x is less than 3. So what type of dot and in which direction do I put on -4?
Oh, the left one closed and the right one open, and same direction, like I was gone to close thing, like we're combining.
They're combining, exactly, because the one on the -4 points to the right and the one on the 3 points to the left. So they're going to meet in the middle. This one goes that way, this one goes this way, and they meet in the middle. Now, when I write my, because remember, the original problem had that compound inequality put together. So when I write my final answer, I'm also going to put my compound inequality together. So I take not, you know how we flipped it around? The blue one, we
Yeah,
flipped it?
x is equal or less than 4. No, greater than 4.
Mm-hmm.
And x is greater than 3.
So what I'm saying is, before you flipped it around, it was backwards. We're going to take that, and those two are the ones we're going to combine because it's easier to see it this way. Why is it easier to see it this way? Because I have x in the middle. I take the same symbol from the green, and I take the same symbol from the blue side, and I write down my two numbers. So that's my combined inequality. And remember that when I write it this way, I'm literally saying x is in between -4 and +3. Do I have any questions at this point?
No.
I got another question. And in test, you're gonna make us write it like that, like in words?
No. On a test, it's usually going to be multiple choice. So either you have to have the right answer. So the part that I boxed, it would look like answer choice A, B, C, or D, and you have to pick the right one.
This is gonna be on the test?
On the quiz today?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. There's one question on that. And I'll let you know now. Should I tell you? Okay,
Yes,
I'll
Miss
tell
Is it
you.
hard or is it easy? That's all
No,
I
what I'll
want.
tell you is that on the quiz today, the only question you have on this you'll have to identify the correct graph. So
Oh,
that's
that's easy.
okay. Let's do a couple more.
I have a question on that.
Yes, Miriam.
You know how a schedule was like all closed, open?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean?
Look at this symbol, right? Look at that dot. See how that's it's just a dot? That's a closed one. This one over here is open because I just draw the open circle.
But like,
How do you know which one's which?
yeah.
Okay.
The closed one has a drawing inside of it. You could say like it's filled, and the open one doesn't has a drawing. It doesn't has nothing. Just think about it that way.
So like negative is closed, positive is open.
Not negative and positive. What do you look at?
Greater or less than, I mean, equal is if it's equal.
Yeah.
Equal.
Oh.
Since I have greater than or equal to, that's closed. This one is just less than, so that's open.
Okay.
But if it just has a line under it, just put it closed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Line under, closed. Let's do two more. I have two examples for you guys to try. Sometimes you don't even know what you don't know until you try, right? So try them, and along the way, if you have questions, you can ask. I'm going to put 4 minutes on my timer, and it's okay to make mistakes. I just want you to try it and see where you get stuck.
Can we DM you the answer?
Yeah, DM me the answer.
Miss, what are we supposed to do? I forgot.
Well, we're doing 3 and 4 right now on your own.
4.
Miss, I think I kind of did it.
Okay, send me your answer and I'll let you know. Okay, that's time. But I'm still answering a couple in the chat, so you can still keep working for a couple seconds.
Miss, can I send it to you?
Yeah, go for it.
No, like on Instagram, so you can see what I'm talking about.
What do you mean on Instagram? Like a picture?
Yeah.
I guess, but I'm about to go over it, so it's not going to matter. Okay. So let's go ahead and do this. So for number 3, I split it up. And now I have -2 is less than x minus 3, and x minus 3 is less than 5. I'm solving them separately first. So what do I get on the left side? What do I do to both sides?
Added by 3.
We're going to add 3, precisely. Doesn't matter that the x is on the wrong side. We're just going to make sure we get it by itself. And -2 plus 3
1.
Good.
One.
Positive 1. Make sure that you added, because I saw a couple people subtracted and they got -5 instead. So make sure you were adding 3. Same thing here. We're going to add 3. And I got x is less than
8.
8.
8. There you go. I got my answer. I'm going to bring them together now. X is in the middle, and I take the same signs. So I have a less than over here and a less than over there. And then I have a 1 and I have an 8. X is between 1 and 8.
Oh, I think I get it now. So pretty much the variable's always going to be in the middle. Then you're going to have two different answers on the other side.
Right, exactly. And notice on this example and in all the other ones, you always end up with less than symbols. Let me just go back really quick so you can see that for sure. In the first one, we had 2 less than or equal to symbols.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, we had a less than and equal, and then just a regular less than.
Wait, hold on. Go back, because right here, x is greater than or equal to. Why did you put it as the less than or equal to?
So your final answer, the one in the box, the compound one, when you put them together, they're both going to point in the same direction. They're both less than. Up here, I had them pulled apart. That's why one's facing the wrong way.
Okay.
But here, they're compound, they're together, they're both less than.
So every single time when you do a problem, it's always going to be a number less than x less than another number.
For and inequalities, yes. For or, it's going to be a different story, but you'll see or is actually easier. So,
okay.
All right. So now let's graph this. I know that I'm in between 1 and 8. What type of circles am I going to have? Open circles or closed circles?
Open.
Good. Both will be
Open.
open.
That's what I got, but I didn't know what else. I didn't know what else to do.
Well, they're both open, and this is and. So what happens with an and?
They combine.
They combine in the middle. Exactly.
Miss, that's exactly what I put. Exactly.
You can show me. Let me see.
Yeah.
Nice job.
I didn't know, like, that's where we finished?
Yeah, that's it for number 3.
Oh, okay. So, Miss, I know how to do it. Okay.
Good. Now do number 4 if you didn't already. So if you guys are good with, does anyone have any further questions for number 3?
No, we're on number 4 now, right?
Yep. Now try number 4. If you didn't already, I'll give you a couple of minutes to start on it. Got one more minute.
I tried to put the less than symbol because I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, that one's hard. If you're trying to send me a less equals to or less than or equals to, it's a little hard to do it.
Yeah, I shall send it.
Miss, I'm lost.
Who's that, Melanie?
Wait, are we supposed to combine both of them then?
Mm-hmm.
Like which one is number 4?
So for number 4, yeah, I split them up. When you're done, you should have a compound inequality where they're together.
Miss, the other ones were easy, but this one's hard.
Oh, I've been done. My bad.
You already did. I didn't see your answer though. Okay. I'm gonna start with it. Let's see how far you got, and compare your answers to mine. So on my purple one, I've already split them up. Now I'm solving each one individually. So for my purple one, what do I do first?
Subtract 2.
Subtract 2, right? Let me zoom in. There we go. Okay. So I'm gonna subtract 2 on both sides. What's -10 minus 2?
-12.
-8.
-12. Careful. We're subtracting.
Oh,
Subtracting. See, those are the trickiest parts. That's like the hardest thing there. Okay, x is on the wrong side, but that's fine. What are we going to do to both sides?
Divide 3.
Divide by 3. Okay. And what's -12 divided by 3?
-4.
Good, -4. So I have -4 is less than x.
That's where I messed up.
What happened? You didn't divide?
I put -14.
Oh, oops. All right. Now the same thing on the orange side. I'm doing the same two things. I'm going to subtract 2. I got 6. And then I divide by 3. And what do I get?
2.
2. Now when I put them together, I'm going to do this over here on the right side. When I put them together, I borrow the same symbols that I had over here. So I had a less than, I had a less than or equal to, and I put down my two numbers.
Yeah, Mrs. Z.
That's not bad. It requires just like
It looked hard, but now it's easy.
That's the thing. That's the thing with these problems. They look hard, but at the end of the day, they're not that hard. And I know this is and, so what type of, on the -4, what type of circle will I have? Open or closed?
Open.
Open. Because it's just less than. It doesn't have a bar underneath it. But on the 2, that's going to be?
Closed.
That one's closed. And what do I do now?
Put the
blend
line
them
to
together.
combine it.
Good. Everything in the middle. Did that clarify things? Is that a little bit better for you guys? Give me a little thumbs up if that helped.
Yes.
Okay. Good. That's the thing with these problems is like just the more examples you look at, the more it makes sense. So this is and. Now we're going to do a few examples of or. The great thing about or is that it's actually easier because there's not as much work. You don't have to do as much stuff. So any last questions on and? Okay, cool. So here's or. With or, you always know it's or because it literally says or. So you should never be confused. Or will always have the word or. So that's what makes these a lot easier right off the bat. So remember, for or inequalities, let me very quickly go back to where we wrote down the definition. And is the combination. So and they come together.
And or is opposite.
Or goes in opposite directions. They go away from each other. So all you have to do.
How do you know they're or? This is like an or like in the middle of it? Like
Yeah,
that always?
it's always going to say or. Exactly. And they're combined or they're separate. And it says or in between.
Question, should I write there or when I do it or no?
Yes, always. In your final answer, you'll write or. Alrighty, so.
Wait, so Miss, we do this the same way we did the other one?
Mm-hmm. You do it exactly. It's already split up, so you don't have to do that. You just solve each one. So I'm going to start with the one on the left. I'm getting x by itself. I just have to do one thing. What do I have to do?
Subtract -4.
Subtract -4. Rather than subtract, it's already negative. So what operation is the opposite of negative?
Add.
We're going to add 4. You technically said the right thing, just
Opposite.
opposite. All right. 1 + 4 is 5. Boom, you're done. Same thing on the other side. We're going to add 4 to both sides.
Oh, so the same thing.
In this case, it's the same. Sometimes it'll be different things, but you just solve each one individually. -3 + 4 gives me
1.
1. And that's it. That was all I had to do. When I write it as a final answer, I would write x. Well, I'm going to write it with the smaller number on the left side because I'm reading it from smallest to biggest. So I would write x is less than 1 or x is greater than 5. So or is actually just way easier in a lot of ways. That's why I wanted to do that one second.
So we're only going to do this one?
We're going to do 3 more, just like we did for and, but they're going to go way faster because they're just easier. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, let me make that a little bit longer. Hold on. Okay. And now let's look at the arrows and which way they're pointing. For the 1, is it going to be open circle or closed circle?
Open.
Open on the 1. And it's pointing to the left.
Yep.
On the 5, open or closed?
Open?
Also open. But this one goes to the right. They're opposites.
Oh, that's easy.
And that's it. That's it for or. So we will do more examples, but all I'm saying is that's all you got to do for this type of problem. So do you guys have any questions so far?
So for or you do the lines like that?
Yeah, for or they always point away.
Okay.
All right, let's do another. These are very simple. So this is, somebody asked, are we going to do the same thing all the time? In this case, you have 2 different types of equations, so you're doing 2 different things. On the left side, what do I do to get x by itself?
Subtract.
Careful, not subtract.
Divide.
Right.
Divide. Because it's being, you got to get rid of the 2, and they're being held together by multiplication, so we divide. It's a little bit different than the one we just did. So we get x is less than or equal to 3.
Wait, Miss, why do we divide?
Because the 2 and the x in the original problem, they're being held together by multiplication. That 2x is the same as 2 times x. To get rid of the 2, you have to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division.
Oh, okay.
So Melanie, what would I do in the other problem? I have 3x.
You would divide by 3?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And here I would get x is greater than 4. So my final answer would be x is less than or equal to 3, or x is greater than 4. And on my graph, what type of circle am I going to have on the 3?
Close.
Closed on the 3. And the 4?
Open.
Open. And since this is an or problem, I know they point away from each other.
Oh, I get it now.
Good. Questions? Do you guys agree that or? Do you guys agree or is easier?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're a little easier.
Miss, I'm just confused in that open and closing.
Okay, let's handle this right now. Ready? If I have this sign or that sign, closed. If I have this one or that one, open.
Okay, thank you, Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Miss,
Mm-hmm.
why did you change the thing to a close?
Which one?
The first one, 6x and 6. I mean 2x and 6. That one.
Why is that one?
Never mind. I didn't see the line. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I thought it was normal like the other one. I didn't see the line right there.
Oh, you didn't see that line right here?
No, I didn't see. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. All right. Any last questions?
I have a question, but it's not for this. It's about the grade thing.
About the grade?
Yeah. Is the test gonna be for this like
Yeah.
semester or the other one?
For this one. Well, yeah.
Okay,
So you guys get your progress reports come out, but it's not going to count. It's not going to be in your progress report because that was due yesterday. But it will be for this marking period. And in case you guys are wondering, because I know a couple people asked me this, the quiz grade goes in for whatever class you had that day. So today this is period 7, so it's algebra. So that's what the quiz goes in as. Last week you guys had on Friday, it was period 8, which is research, or period 2, which is research. That went in for research.
Miss, are teachers still putting in grades today or they stopped?
I mean, I think they're still putting in grades, but it might not show up on your progress report because the grades for the progress report were due yesterday.
Miss, question.
Yes.
Did you change my grade, Miss?
I did. I put in that 4 out of 4 from the Khan Academy. So all grades, I've put up everything up to this point. So you can always check to make sure if you're missing anything. All right. Number 6, number 7.
Oh, Miss, my grades are still bad.
Well, keep doing better and it'll get better. Do well.
Miss, we're doing these on our own.
Yes, try number 6 and number 7 completely on your own. And I will give you guys 5 minutes to do that.
Yes, I'll be right back.
Okay, go fast.
Miss, can I text you the answer?
Yeah.
Miss, if we're like, let's say it's like, it says minus something, so that means that we're like, never mind, I'm not gonna be able to explain it.
Try it. Try me.
Like, like when you have like, let's say -5, and then you have to subtract it by like a number like on the other side.
Okay.
So do you add it if it's like a negative? You
Okay.
add it, you switch it?
Yeah, so let's look at the first one as an example. On number 6, it has x minus 5 is greater than or equal to 2, right? Since it says x minus 5, what you're going to want to do is you're going to add 5 to both sides.
But Miss, what about the other side?
What do you mean?
Because it says -5.
Mm-hmm.
Would you add it or would you take away from it?
Exactly.
Would you add what? Say specific
The
numbers.
5 to the 2, because the 5 was a minus, negative, and a 2 is a negative. So would you add? Because normally if the 5 was a negative and 2 was a positive, you would take away from that, right?
Right. So
Okay.
right. So
Sorry.
you would no, you're good. These are good questions. So let me write it down so you can see it. You would add.
Miss, can I tell them what I did?
Go for it. Yeah.
I just add, like, I got a 5, and then I just subtract 2 from it, from 5.
That's a really good way to do it. So Angel is kind of doing the backwards.
Miss, would you still would it be a negative still, or would it would be a positive because 2 negatives are adding together?
What did I say before? There are no rules for adding and subtracting. Each one is a different case. So in this case, since you're adding 5, right? So you were asking about, do I add or do I subtract? Do we agree that we're going to add?
Yeah, Miss, but
Yes.
Okay.
the -5 or the -2?
Right. So here's the thing is when you add, you read it from top to bottom. So what I'm reading -2 plus 5. Because I'm going straight down. -2 plus 5. Think about your number line. What is that going to look like
So
on the
would it
number
be a
line?
positive or a negative?
Think about the number line. What does it look like on a number line? I have a number line right here. Look at that number line. What would that look like? -2 plus 5.
It's a positive.
Miss, I'm finished. Wait, we have to do 7?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, we have to do 7.
Are you talking about like the answer?
Okay, so I know we kind of started talking about different things, so let me just bring everyone back. Technically, you guys still have about 15 seconds left. So if you're still working,
Miss,
keep
I
working.
text you the answer.
Miss, I think I did it for the first time in my math.
Good, 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 good. Okay, so let's go over number 6. So as I was saying, we're adding 5, and if you're having trouble visualizing what that means, think back to the number line. I have -2 plus 5. So if I'm at -2 and I'm adding 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where do I end up?
So you're basically subtracting the two numbers.
Right. So that's what Angel was saying. What Angel was saying is instead of doing -2 plus 5, he did 5 minus 2, which gives you the same answer. So sometimes what you can do is you can flip it around and think about it as a subtraction problem instead of an addition problem. Does that kind of make sense? Negatives and positives are no joke, y'all. Like
Yeah.
it can get really confusing. So I love that you guys are still asking questions because that makes me realize that I need to do a better job of explaining it.
No, Miss, you're doing good.
Miss, I got a question. If it's if they're opposites, but they're both in the negative side, how does it works?
So give me a concrete example.
Like let's say one x equals -4 and the other one equals -3. It's still the same.
So
Miss,
I'm a little confused about your question. Are you asking me like if you had two inequalities?
Yeah.
Right, and they were both negative? Hold on. Okay, tell me one more time. So you're saying x equals what?
-4 and the other one x equals -3. I mean greater than, because it's inequality, right?
Right, so greater than and less than?
Yeah.
Okay, they would still point in different directions. So this would look like this. Even though they're both negative, they can
Close
still.
and one open.
Well, yeah, either way. Okay. That's a different problem though.
I'm sorry.
So, I know, hold your questions. Let me just finish this problem and then you can ask all the questions you want. Because I'm saying my chat is blowing up. Everyone's sending me answers, but I haven't been able to answer them. Okay. Here we go. So we're adding 5 to both sides. Now here's another example of when you have to think about your number line. -6 plus 5. What does that give you?
-6 plus
-1.
5.
-1.
-1.
Exactly.
Miss, I got it right. Except that for 1, I put 1, like +1.
Okay, so that's also tricky. You got to make sure you get that correct. Okay, here we go. Let me write my final answer. So x is less than or equal to -1, or x is greater than or equal to 3. Notice that I wrote the smaller number on the left and the bigger number on the right, just to make it in order.
And both of them are going to be closed.
Both of them are going to be closed, exactly. And they point away from each other. Okay, questions on that one?
I don't have a question.
Okay.
I figured it out.
Good. Now let's do the next one. And I'm sorry, I know you guys sent me your answers. I just didn't have time to look at them. So just watch when I do it to see if you got the same thing. All right, 4x minus 1. What do I do first?
The 11? I mean the 1?
You add.
The 1, yeah. We add 1. 15 plus 1?
16.
16. And now I
Divide.
divide by 4, I'm sorry. So I have x is less than 4. And then on the other hand, I'm just doing one step. What do I do?
Divide.
Good, divide by 8. 48 divided by 8?
6.
6. Good job. So here I have x is less than 4, or x is greater than or equal to 6. What's my what type of circles?
Open.
One
Open and then
and one close.
Good. There you go. So I think a lot of people, now that I'm looking at it, most people, yeah, I think everybody sent me the correct answer. So that looks awesome to me. Any questions?
When we're doing the test.
So right now, I'm about to switch slides. You'll see the instructions in just a second.
Miss,
Mm-hmm.
for the number line and the x less than 4,
Mm-hmm.
if it's like greater than, let's say x greater than 4,
Mm-hmm.
does that go to the other side? And if the other problem was x less than 6, would it go to like the other side?
Okay,
Or
so
be facing 4?
So that's a good question. So let's say you got this as your final answer and it was facing the other way. This would no longer be a compound inequality because if my arrow was facing to the right, then I would just have the same, I would just have one long inequality.
No, I'm talking about like the x is less than 6.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
So the other thing, the other way around.
yeah, the other way.
It
So
would
it'd be facing 4.
facing, yeah, they would both be
Okay,
facing the other way. But that's not going to happen because this is a compound inequality. Alrighty. So the next couple problems don't really matter. They're not on the quiz, so don't worry that I'm skipping them. Before we take the quiz, one reminder that you also have homework due tonight at midnight. So make sure if you haven't done that homework, get it done if you want to get good grades, because if you don't do it, that's a Z, that's a 0. So make sure you get that done. Any questions on the homework assignment or any problems accessing it?
No.
I did the one on that was due on Wednesday.
Okay, well now you got to do this one, which is due tonight.
Wait, the homework is about this or no?
Yeah, the homework is inequalities.
Okay, okay.
All right, so that's due tonight. And then the quiz, let's go ahead and read these five instructions. Can I have 5 volunteers read 5 instructions?
Go to Microsoft Teams to find your quiz.
Good, number 2.
You will get 10 minutes to work on during class.
Good, so for now, you'll have 10 minutes. However, number 3.
If you do not finish, it is due by by midnight tonight.
Okay, so even though I'm only giving you 10 minutes, you don't have to necessarily finish it all in 10 minutes. If you don't finish, just make sure you do it by midnight. Number 4.
You must send me a picture of your work.
Okay, this is the most important one. Please make sure you send me a picture of your work. If you don't send me a picture of your work, I will not grade it. I will put it as a Z. I will not give you the grade you deserve. So, does anybody still need my Google phone number or my remind code or my Instagram? In other words, does anybody not know how to reach me?
Me?
Okay.
Angel Martinez.
All right, let me write down my Google phone number. So make sure you have this number, 786.
All right, wait.
I'll write it down, 471 6760.
Miss, can you
That's-
please send me an email?
You want to email it to me?
Yes, please.
Okay, you can email it to me. Here, let me write it down.
All right.
My email is m.lopez@dadeschools.net.
Miss, is there any other way we can send it to you?
Do you want to send it to me by mail? Do you want to mail it to me, put it in the post office?
Can we send it to you through Teams?
No, the reason is because on Teams, if you post a picture, everyone can see it. So you can't do that because then people can cheat. So why?
I don't know how I can send it to you.
Can you
got
email it to
Instagram.
me? You can email
I'm
it.
gonna try to.
Use Remind. Do you have Instagram? You can.
I have Remind, but I don't think I have you on Remind.
Okay, add me on Remind. Let me write my code. Remind is at Miss Lopez ALG for algebra. Okay. Any final questions?
How many questions are there in the quiz?
4 questions. And so if you get all 4, that's an A. If you get 3, it's a B. 2 is a C. 1 is a D. 0 is an F. All right. So I just posted it. It's under period 7. So I want everyone to stay on Zoom, but go over now to Microsoft Teams period 7 and begin. If you have any other questions, you can still ask.
Miss, I joined.
Oh, Miss,
Okay, good.
Miss, do you see the score at the end?
Yes, you'll see your score at the end.
Miss, that first question?
Yeah. You want me to mute you?
I don't think I was here.
You don't think what?
For the first question, I don't think I was here.
Yeah, that was after you got here. If you get it wrong, don't stress. We'll have time to
Okay.
review that concept.
Miss, did we learn that?
Yep.